the zoning board of October 18th, 2022 to order. We have one case tonight. It is case number 22-14 for 48 to 54 Village Street in Reading. The Zoning Board of Appeals is holding this public hearing tonight at 7 o'clock in the conference room here in Reading Town Hall, 16 Lowell Street in Reading, Massachusetts, on the application of Kevin Emery pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 48, Section 9, for a special permit under Reading zoning bylaw sections 7.0 and 7.2 to raise an existing legal, non-conforming four-family structure and rebuild a new four-family dwelling in an S15 district on the property located, as I've said, at 48 to 54 Village Street in Reading, Massachusetts.
All right, thank you all for joining us tonight. So we'll follow standard procedure, which is that the applicant will present their case, and then the board will provide question and comment, and then the board will open to public comment. Please do raise your hand for acting chair to acknowledge you, and then you'll just need to state your name and address for the record and minutes keeping, and then we'll proceed. So I'll pass it off to Dave and Kevin and I have your plan so that I can share on
Great.
screen.
Do we need to be sworn, Si?
Yes, I think you do.
Yes, good. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, sorry.
All those who plan to speak at this session this evening, either to present or to comment, if you plan to do that, would you stand, please, and raise your right hand? You got the words?
Including public.
Testimony I am to provide before this board is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help you God, and the answer is I
will.
will. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If it's all the same, I'll remain standing to present the applicant's case.
You are allowed to do that.
Thank you. Again, David Trinello, and I represent Kevin Emery, who is the manager of 48-54 Village Street LLC, who purchased the property in May of 2022. He has before this board a fairly standard application for a special permit for a non-conforming, because the property's in an S15 district, its current use, legal use as a four-family is non-conforming, so that strikes the applicability of 7072 to come before this body to ask for a special permit to raise the existing building and build a new building on the site. I'm just going to focus simply, if it's okay, and certainly we'll take other input as well, on the simple criteria for granting of a special permit and focus on the not substantially more detrimental analysis in 7.2. And I think it's, again, fairly straightforward. So it's currently used as a pre-existing four-family, and it also actually is non-conforming in its present configuration because it encroaches into setbacks. And so he's continuing the same use, I guess temporarily, and I'll get into that in a minute. And as the plans and figures that the applicant has submitted will show, the use is going to be same four-family, 4 units, but we're actually making the property, the footprint of the property is being reduced such that it will remove all encroachments into the setbacks and become conforming in that regard. The added benefit, again, so that's goes to the not substantially more detrimental. It's actually an improvement. And secondly, it's the applicant's plan to build a new structure and then conduit so that it can be used for owner-occupant living rather than as a rental property. Again, I think a more substantial improvement to the use, still 4 units, but then you have owner-occupants rather than renter tenants. So we're continuing the same use, reducing the footprint, removing the encroachment into setbacks. And once it goes back to conforming, it can never become non-conforming again, so I think that's a benefit as well. And so I think at this point, the only other issue, if the board is inclined to vote this application up, is that in conversations with town staff, because it is a multifamily, under 4622 of the zoning bylaw, we trigger site plan review. Because we are adding more than 500 square feet to the gross floor area. And I don't want to go into the weeds, if it's all the same with you, about how we calculate gross floor area, because we all might have different calculations about that. But suffice it to say that once the special permit is granted, we would ask that if it's granted, we would ask that it be conditioned upon CPDC minor site plan review after our discussions with town staff. The initial discussion is that it would be a minor site plan review before the CPDC. And with that, we'll open up to any comments or questions that you might have. Happy to answer them.
Well, the board would like to start. Patrick?
Do you have an original plan that shows the footprint before? I've seen the 2022 one, but if you don't, it's...
There is one on file with the town. I'm not sure if I brought an extra.
A footprint of what?
The original plot plan as it is right now.
Before May.
Yeah, we have one, yes.
Well, I mean, that's an overlay, so it actually, I think, does show the original footprint with also the, or is that
It
just the
does have the
proposed?
overlay.
So I think in the second email they had that one. That was confused by that too.
Okay.
The second, yeah.
Oh, alright, so these are
They're-
one
Yeah,
and
the,
the overlay.
in red is the
I
Yeah,
existing.
you,
That's
you don't have it in
okay.
color.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can see it up on the screen
I
as
think
well.
actually the one thing that's not on the overlay, maybe it's the same in both, but is the parking area the same before
Same.
and after? Okay,
Yeah.
alright, gotcha.
Patrick, go back to you. Any comments?
Not at this time. Is it really gonna cost $15,000?
What?
Kinda curious. It says it costs, estimated cost about $15,000 somewhere.
If it is, I want your contract.
Yeah, me too.
$15,000 what?
$15,000 estimate to redo the structure.
That's what the
No,
application says.
they're knocked down.
Yeah.
That's the
yeah.
demo
No,
only.
that's a,
Yeah.
Demolition,
no.
demolition only.
That's, yeah. Cost me $100 a piece of plywood the other day.
What do your neighbors think, or have you talked to them so far?
What's that?
What do your surrounding neighbors think so far?
I walked around last week. I left a letter around the neighborhood. My telephone number, any questions, and I think any calls, but I guess people here tonight might have some questions. They showed up, but I did walk around the neighborhood and like that. My engineer, who's been out there a bunch of times because he had a hard time plotting that street plotting the lot lines, so he's out there for a while. He did talk to some of the neighbors, I know that, and he answered some questions for him.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's it for me.
can I ask, it's a little hard for me to tell from the elevations, but how is the character of the building gonna change? I mean, in terms of style or overall look?
You have to keep, Andrew, can you put the plans up on the board?
I mean, I do have the elevation.
Okay.
But,
More or less, it's, what you have, the original building is 3 stories, but the top story is more of a apex roof, like that, with dormers in the front, and then this one's gonna be a flat roof, 3 stories. And we're gonna put some bays in the front with the balcony, as you see in the top of the 3rd floor. And so that's pretty much the difference between that and the other building. The other building's vinyl siding. We're gonna be doing probably hardy plank on this building. And like I said, 5, so we're gonna add some balconies on the side to get some more character, to get away from the boxy look as much as we can.
and it's still gonna have the driveway on each side?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think zoning is 4 spots, and we're having 8 spots. So each unit will have 2 spots deeded to each unit.
Tandem.
What's tandem, yes.
Is there any significant change to the overall, like, height of the structure? Like, is it, you mentioned the roof differences, but is it like, the new structure 3 feet taller, or is it pretty negligible?
It's pretty close. I mean, like I said, that was, if you can picture like a cape roof on top of 2 stories there
Yep.
with dormers. And now it's just a flat roof, so it's, I mean, meets zoning, but I never measured it, what that one was versus this one, but I can't see it being much difference. I was more concerned about keeping it under, so it wouldn't trigger any,
Sure.
you know, zoning problems.
Makes sense.
Andrew, any comment?
Yeah, I guess I did, this is more of a site plan review thing. I did read through some of that, and I guess I wasn't clear as the difference between a minor and a major site plan review. I just saw like any multifamily as a site plan review.
So,
Explain that a little bit more maybe.
sure, so there are, in the zoning bylaw, there are 2 definitions as to what triggers a major site plan review and a minor site plan review. And there are certain criteria under each section of that bylaw about site plan review, about what type of criteria merit which level of review. And after discussions with town staff, we decided, well, at least the initial discussion was that it will be a minor site plan review.
Just to add to that, Andrew, so full site plan typically requires like full civil plans, architectural, landscape, it has a lot more submittal requirements. Minor site plan might have a little less so and
Okay.
don't have to be to the full scale that a full site plan review would be. Traffic impact report and everything like that.
Thank you.
Anything else?
No, I don't think so. Yeah, I live not too far from this actually. It seems like the overall design will be.
Anything else on your part?
Not questions, no.
Ryan?
I'm good right now, thank you.
Patrick? Well, I can ask my questions then. As we all know, if we were putting a new multi-use, multifamily thing in there, this would not be allowed in that district. We would not be able to do it. But since this is a legal, non-conforming structure on a non-conforming lot, built way back circa 1890 or something like that, it can be done. The only questions I would have, some of which I know the answer to, I think, but I'll ask them anyway. My first one, I think you already answered, was that my thought was it was going to go on the existing foundation, on a new foundation in the exact footprint of it, but you're saying it's going to be smaller.
They're reducing the footprint, and they're gonna put a new foundation in that is actually smaller than the current footprint.
All right.
And the overall impact of that will that the structure will then minimize the encroachment into the setbacks that it is now, that there are present now, such that those encroachments will no longer exist.
Okay.
So it'll be conforming in all respects to the front side rear yard setbacks.
Dave, can I add to that? Excuse me for interrupting, but yesterday when we met with staff, I went back to my engineer to figure out, because if I was building 500 square more feet, we had to go in front of the
Site plan.
site plan review, so I had to go figure that out yesterday after I meet with staff, and we are more square footage for livable space, but the new building is gonna be 8, on the first floor, is like 8, under how you would count square footage is, new building is 1752.8, and the existing building on the first floor is 1770.8. So it's very similar, but it is gonna be reduced. But not only is it being reduced, but it's being moved back, because the setbacks in the front is which are encroaching. And that's why it's in a non-conforming building. And that's gonna be all taken care of, and again, making it conforming, which David discussed earlier.
Okay. So, the other question I had was, that all the current setbacks that exist for the existing building will be either met, and I gather are going to be improved upon.
Correct.
Okay. And all the current yard, lot coverage, height requirements, those are all going to be met with the existing structure
Correct.
as well. Okay, so there's no new nonconformities of any kind
Not
With
reducing
this-
the nonconformity.
with this whole thing. Okay. I did notice a couple errors on the on the plot plan, I think it showed the square footage of the lot is 7899. And if
Okay.
you look at all the other documentation.
what
in
happened
town,
was,
it's
again-
8,400, it's a 500 square foot
Yeah.
differential.
What happened, if you
Which
look,
looks right.
if you look at the assessors map, you'll see more square footage, but I mentioned earlier, my engineer went out there because he had trouble with finding points on that particular street and measuring the houses all the way down. He spent a lot of time there, and the lot actually shrank a little bit in square footage by the time we were done. Not much, just a little bit, but when engineers are out there plotting the house, they need to know exact. They can't be just guessing, so it, it was a little bit different, yes.
So the 7899 is the correct number.
Yeah, that one, yeah.
It's up there.
Yeah. And that's after, my engineer said he's spent more time this one than he has in most he's ever done.
Okay.
Good.
All right, I got it. Okay. I don't have any more questions either. Before I open it up to the public, does any of the board members want to make a comment before I do that? Then I'll open this up now for public input. Is anyone wishing to speak on this?
I'm Jim Quigley.
Your name is?
Jim Quigley.
Okay.
On 102 Village Street.
Okay.
And I was just curious if you have a side view of the structure, rather than just the front
They
elevation?
might, if not, I have one, yeah.
So, yeah, there are elevation drawings on,
Oh,
yep.
okay. So the back's actually, I guess that's the cellar, which would make it 4 stories in the back,
What happened, it's,
because of the.
The slope.
of the land.
Slope, yeah.
That's below grade,
yeah.
Oh, okay.
the walkout in the back.
Yeah. And, what else, as far as, like, how long will it take to build?
Subcontractors are pretty busy these days, but I would say, time we put the foundation, probably 6 to 8 months.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
What-
we have
and-
another one going right down the street from us, and it's been going
Yeah,
quite a long time.
well, I seen that one, yeah,
Yeah.
and like I said, it's, all the Brett will attest, all the subcontractors are busy right now. Get them there, I'll be there Monday, they don't say which Monday, you know?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
But, yeah, so, like, obviously, it's in our best interest to get it done as soon as possible. I'll leave you my number if there's any issues or problems, you can call me, and, I live in town, so
Yeah,
I'll, be more than happy to, any issues with noise and so forth, the people,
Sure.
trash, whatever, let me know.
No problem. And one other thing too, if there's, my house is three houses away, so I'm sure there won't be any problem, but as far as the adjoining houses, if there's any problems, like if you have to, I don't know, if you have to drill or whatever, as far as affecting the structure of those other houses' foundations, is that
No.
something you're insured for, or is that?
Yeah,
Does that work?
that's all short, for the only time that would happen if it's, if we had a rock, if there's any rock involved and stuff like that.
Yeah, because there is down the street from you.
Yeah, and that's, that will usually have to go through, fire department and building department if you start doing something like that. And, hopefully we won't get involved in that, but you never know till you get there. But the footprint, like I said, it's not gonna be much different if you show the overlay, it's not much different, so I don't foresee any problem running into that at all.
Okay. Great, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm Kim Ashton, I'm at 15 Village Street, and my question is similar to Jim's. I'm wondering when demolition is going to be.
The day after I get the permit, no, if I get the permit, no, probably I'd say a week or two after, well, no, you gotta go through a process, right, Brett, you gotta put the fence up, you gotta go,
Yeah, we'll do a fence inspection, the appeal process, so.
yeah, so appeal process, fence suspension, I gotta take, remove the electricity, gotta do some work for, the health department. So it takes probably, what, 2 or 3 weeks before you?
Yeah, every department has to sign off, so engineering will have to sign off, the gas company, so the sign-offs, may take a couple of weeks to issue the permit, and then, however long it takes to do the actual demo.
Site plan?
for the-
Demo's usually 2 days.
We've gotta get through this process,
Get through
sorry,
the
we've gotta
process.
get through this process as well. Every board's decision that is granted is subject to a 20-day appeal that has to run before it becomes final. And so we're before this board today, presumably we'll be before the CPDC before too long. And then, so from that hearing date, presuming our relief is granted, there's a 20-day appeal period that has to run before the decision is final. And then the developer can move on, the owner can move on to the next part of the process in dealing with town staff on scheduling things.
So you're hoping maybe this winter is when you demolish?
Hope springs eternal, even in the winter.
I wanna do it as soon as I can. I was hoping I'd be built by now, because I ran into the zoning issues, which I didn't expect, because, you know, some of it's interpretation and stuff like that, so it was a curveball that I had thrown on that one, because it was four-family, and building a four-family, and it was non-conforming and making it conform, which is better, so I didn't think there was gonna be any issues, but then, you know, you think there's no issues, always issues show up. And, you know, we had to get town council involved to find out if it was accurate, and then that's with the opinion they came down.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Renee Burke, 64 Village Street. I'm one of the adjoining properties, and I was just wondering if you know if they are, given the age of the house, if there's asbestos, and if there is, what precautions are you gonna take during the term?
Okay, a part of the demo is asbestos abatement, and that's part of the permit. And so what happens is, I have to have a lab go in there to the house, and they do probably 60 tests on different parts of the house, and they check for asbestos, and if there is asbestos, then I have to file with the DEP, and then there's a certain procedure on how to remove that, and that also is part of the permit process. Yeah, that's part of the permit process, and they want to make sure that first, if there is any, if it's done correctly, and removed.
Would you neighbors get notified if there is?
Excuse me?
Would neighbors be notified if there is asbestos?
I don't know, is there?
I don't think so. I mean, the health department, he would have to file through the health department, so they would have all the abatement forms, it'd have to be a licensed company with the state. I mean, you could always come in and ask and we could tell you for sure, but I don't think a letter would go out, I don't think.
Okay, I just built the house, I'm building a house right now on the corner of Summer Ave and Woodbine, and we did the test, and we did 60 tests, there was no asbestos, but there was asbestos on the sewer pipe. So we had to file DEP with the sewer pipe, because we had to remove the sewer pipe and put a new one in. But it was closed in, so it wasn't any effect to the neighborhood or anything like that. What you do is they remove it, they double bag it, they tape it up, and they have the guys with the suits come in and do all that stuff, and then they remove it, and they remove it according to the state and the DEP and stuff.
You might find it, and again, just a suggestion, Google it, YouTube it. There's asbestos abatement videos that'll show you the containment that they use, the bags, the tape, the hazmat suits. You know, it's a really secure environment because of the environmental impact of it, of the fibers. So if you're looking for more information about it, to see a visual of it, there are plenty of YouTube videos out there of asbestos abatement contractors at work.
In all the houses I've ever done, the most I found, if you have old linoleum, you'll find it on the bottom of the old linoleum. Another time, I had an old house with the caulking in the windows in the basement. They had some little spaces. And sometimes with some of the old tiles, they'll have on the bottom of the tiles. But other than that, unless you're a real old house where they used to use it on the pipes, years ago, I don't know if you've seen the old houses in the city. And a lot of that's been removed by new homeowners over the years. That's the only time you really find any asbestos. And I've been through the basement, I didn't see any of that when I went through the basement, so. I understand your concern, but it's very minor if it is, but I don't foresee it. Like I said, the house in Summer Ave knocked down was about the same age built as that house, and there wasn't any in that at all. Other than, again, the town had asbestos sewer lines in.
Anyone else?
Ann Hooker, 87 Village Street.
Okay.
A question about who is responsible for repairing the sidewalks after you dig it all up? Okay.
Yeah. Yes, because any damage we do to the cities, towns, sidewalks, the developer is always responsible for replacing it.
All right, and then what about the street?
Same with the street. And it's usually what goes with the permit with the water and sewer guy. It usually goes with that permit, and that's up to engineering to follow through and make sure it gets
So,
fixed up.
in other words, you're just gonna put a little patch on it?
The street, they're doing the street, they'll do a hot patch. Sidewalks will be redone over. We'll cut from where the lines are, each end, we'll remove it, and we'll put new ones down if we damage it.
Okay. And also, On the parking, is it all piggyback? You're talking 8 new cars in the neighborhood.
Yeah, it's same as what's in the, what's required is 4, we'll provide an 8, but it's tandem, which is piggyback, right, like you said. So one behind the other, so each unit will have, I think it's like 18 by 40 spot for 2 cars, back to back.
Right, but that will only happen in the wintertime. In the summer, 4 cars will be parked on Village Street, so they don't have to run around and switch cars. You know that'll happen. More cars in the neighborhood,
On the street.
on the street.
How many cars are you experiencing there now?
Hardly any.
Well, that side, so our street, you can only park on one side.
Yeah, that's the
And
other.
I will say that they block my front driveway often, especially the contractors that have been around. I've had to ask them several times to move. I'm not saying that affects me because your house is farther up, but they do park up on the sidewalk on the front of my house where I am. I'm on the corner of Village and Green, and they do block my front driveway. So I have to go out and ask people all the time to move, especially with the
That's
construction we've
unacceptable.
had. And recently with the new construction, I know that there's something happening on Green Street. I don't know what number it is, but it looks like they're either gonna demolish or redo that house, which is actually on my side of my house, cause my lot is rather large, it goes all the way down Green Street. They were blocking the whole street today, and they have no parking on one side, police will take notice of Green Street. So now people can't park on part of Green Street as well, which, by the way, if you do park on Green Street or Village Street, it's not enough room for 2 traffic to pass. I don't know if you've ever actually done a traffic study, but it is a problem. But that construction that's going on in that house, and I wish I knew the number, their trucks were blocking the entire street today, and my back driveway, because my garage is in the back of my house. So I have 2 driveways.
Sorry, can I just ask your name for the?
It's Howard Giardino, 103 Village Street,
Thank you.
sorry about that.
No worries.
And I'm on town meeting, so I know about the, high density and whatnot. It's probably why the conformity stuff that's going on with why you couldn't just get pushed through. So I'm not opposed to the construction if it's gonna, help with the property. I think it sounds like it might actually improve the neighborhood. I'm just concerned with the actual construction, the neighbors that abut it, and the actual street. The street, Village Street, if you've looked at it, because of the construction, all the trucks, the street's been completely torn up. It's full of potholes. I think some of us have experienced some plumbing issues.
Yeah.
And I'm just speaking as, I have a personal experience, but I've heard about some of these things. And, some of the people have asked, a lot of the construction, in our neighborhood, has not been complete in a timely manner. I know that, we've got contractors and subcontractors that are delayed, and there's supply issues, with going on with that stuff. But I think it's a hardship on the neighborhood. So that doesn't necessarily have to do with you, I'm just advocating for the neighborhood itself.
Yeah, that's a concern, I think that,
It is, because
Might
we've
be
got 2
talk.
construction going on, and Green is starting to happen right now. And, you have that, and I think that it's a lot on the neighborhood, and you have a lot of traffic being detoured, because you're also doing the water main break on Washington Street. And so you also now have, the end of Green Street that goes on to Main Street, an issue as well. Where you can't actually turn, they're allowing you to do left-hand turns, you're not really able to do that. It's causing a lot of problems for the neighborhood. So there's a lot of issues. I don't think it should make this for Kevin per se, but I think we need to really think about, if we're gonna add construction, how we're gonna help the neighborhood, and maybe make one-way streets, block the streets so they're not cutting through. Nobody
see-
stops at those
yeah.
4-way stop signs either. They're flying down with maybe one passable vehicle.
yeah.
You
It's
get
a
people pulling out.
It's a concern, I certainly
Yeah, it's an
understand what
issue.
you folks are going through. But in terms of the board's responsibility to review this case here,
Yeah,
okay, we review the case versus what they're asking to do vis-à-vis the
Right.
bylaws of the town.
right.
That's another issue,
So how do
which
we
needs to
address
be
those
taken up.
issues afterwards?
I don't know,
Yeah.
how do you do that one?
For reach out to town staff.
Have to reach out to
myself,
town.
And town engineering department. I think we're happy to take any concerns and look to address them, public safety as well, who helps
Right.
on detailing and everything. So we're happy to certainly take those comments and see if we can help in any way mitigate the impacts going. We know there's a lot of construction and things going on downtown right now.
Yeah, cause I feel like the biggest issue, and I'm speaking for myself and maybe some of the others, was the size of the actual, structure. It sounds like you're within the limits, and it's actually sounding like you're gonna have a setback, so it's gonna make it conformed rather
Yeah.
than not, which is great, I think, but I think the other issues, some of the, you know, I can only speak for myself, but I think those other concerns come into play with the development of another.
Yeah.
It's not that we're opposed per se, as long as it's falling within the limits, it's more of the neighborhood itself.
Okay, thank you for that.
We have the town's parking, traffic, and transportation task force. We meet monthly. We actually have a meeting next Wednesday. It's a group of town staff departments that get together. You can submit an email to any one of us, planning, engineering, public safety, to request that we talk about it, or online. There's called See Click Fix, and you can provide comments there as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not always doing that, but I do understand that.
Yeah, and,
I mean, there wasn't a police detail today when they were totally blocking the road.
okay.
You know, I couldn't get out of my driveway and you can't drive down the street, so.
You should be able to get out of your driveway.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I know, I mean, it's been 23 years, so I mean,
Having to ask them to move.
Correct.
yeah, I think that's I mean, I'm, like I said again, I'm only speaking for myself. I mean, my concern was just making sure that it fell within the, you know, it looks like it's a nice structure and it looks like it's gonna, you know, he's making it fit. And Kevin's a good guy, you know.
Again, you have my number, like, if it goes through and concerns, I mean, I've done 80% of my building in the city, so it's a lot harder to build in the city than it is out here, and we work with the neighborhood, we're there for 6 to 8 months, you live there, we don't, I understand that, so, your concerns, you know, call me and I'll take, sometimes a subcontractor will show up on a Saturday at 7 o'clock and he's not supposed to be there, but I don't know that, you know what I'm saying, so you call me and I'll make sure he's not there at 7 o'clock, you know what I'm saying, so, that's why I left my numbers and the concerns, like I said, construction does disrupt the neighborhood, you know, for a short period of time. And when it's done, I hope you're happy with what's there now compared to what's there now.
That was actually another question I had, is what do you expect to be the hours of construction? Are they gonna be working on the weekends? How early are they gonna start?
No Sundays, Saturdays, Brett, what's the hours on Saturdays, Brett, you know?
I don't know off the top of my head.
Yeah.
There's a regulation in town about the hours that work can take place.
I think it's 7 to 5 on Saturdays and 7 to 8 on weekdays.
Okay, so there is an allowance for weekend work.
Yeah, most of the construction is Monday through Friday, once in a while, you'll see someone there on Saturday, like the plaster, the hang, sheet rock, you know, cause a lot of that, but most of my subcontractors don't work Saturdays, so, then, you know, obviously never Sundays, so. And, you know, some towns, holidays and Saturdays is the later start, I know, I don't know what the hours in this town are. It's been 20 years since I built my house in this town, so, that's why I'm learning all the zoning and stuff, so.
So just to confirm, we allow 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday through Friday, 7 to 5 on Saturdays, and none without permission on Sundays and holidays.
Yeah.
Any other comments? Yes, ma'am?
Is the name again, or, Renee Park, 64 Village Street. The side balconies, are those just like decoration, or are those
Yeah,
functional?
they're 3 feet, they're just decoration, like I had the architect design it just to take the boxiness out of it, and, you know, but it's right off the living room, so it gives some views and stuff like that, that's all.
Do you know where that lines up? Like, could you, to the existing house now? Like, can you give me a?
It's,
Exactly. Are the kids' windows?
It's, I can read it right, it's 15.1 and 15.8 from the lot lines, and 16.3 and 16.8 from the other lot line.
So from the existing house now,
Geez, that's,
like so where the side porch bump out is, right? So on the adjacent
If you go to
property.
the other plot plan,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think on the overlay, so you can see where the balcony is. Yeah, I I don't, are you on the right or left side?
On the right.
Right, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, so if you see where the balcony is, then
So
I can
it's,
still find
So
it.
what's there, does it tell me what's there existing?
It's, no other,
Yeah,
see what this says?
Right over the existing porch, it looks like,
Okay,
yeah.
It says, with the enclosed porches now,
yes,
it's very similar to what that is then.
okay. And that's one, and then was there a second one?
No, it's one on each side,
Just one,
each floor, so that's the enclosed porch right here,
okay,
and that sticks out a little further than what that is. So it's a little further back, and it's right around the same spot, that helps you.
okay, thank you.
Any other comments?
I have one.
Yes?
So, if it's decided that this is gonna go through and it's now a 4-unit, is there anything in the bylaws that stops them from, I mean, is somebody gonna come and buy my house and put up a 4-unit? Or that would just never happen?
That's correct.
This-
Not unless it
require
already is a
variance,
4-unit.
yeah.
Okay,
That always has been one, and that's why it's legally,
right, I just wanna make sure that that doesn't happen.
no. Four-unit houses in a zone, in a S15 district are not allowed. Unless they are grandfathered in
Yeah.
like this one happens to be,
Yeah.
okay? So there won't be any others like that,
Okay,
absolutely not. Not at least through this board. Okay, any others?
What is S15?
You certainly may.
So we have single-family residential zones, it's S15, S20, and I believe S40. Each one has different dimensional controls. S15 is the base and kind of most common in the town, I believe. 15,000 square foot lot minimum, setback
yes.
requirements, certain uses, like single-family really only.
So this is unusual that we're looking at here tonight, okay? Simply because it's been there for a long time. And it existed long before the current bylaw ever came into existence. All right? Any other comments? If not, I'll close the public portion of this meeting. Are there any other comments from any of the board members before we consider taking a vote on this thing?
I have a question. Why are you doing this complete tear down and rebuild rather than renovating what's there?
Design, number one, number two, it's run down, really run down. And, I think if I had to put like, change the roof around, if I did anything more to it, then I would still be, for a special permit, I think, Brett, I think we talked about that, I think, so.
Yeah, if you went up on it, or, I mean, the front was non-conforming,
Right.
but I don't know. I don't know why.
Yeah, so, you know, it just makes it a lot cleaner, a lot newer, and, I prefer new than rehab, to be honest with you. I don't like rehab that much, it's a lot dirtier and a lot, and the rooms aren't square, and and when you go put the door in, you gotta shimmy it because nothing's up, it sits right, and yada, yada, yada.
So you don't like the charming old construction, huh?
It's a 200-year-old plus house that makes his plans
Yeah.
for quality construction more challenging.
Yeah. I mean, I've done a lot of older houses, I had to jack up foundations, and I had done all that, just to get, so the, you know, you put a ball on the floor, it doesn't roll all the way down the other end, you know, so I've done those, I mean, I just prefer, you know, it's cleaner, it's, you know, newer.
I have a question. I'm Cheryl Rowan.
I'll reopen it again, okay.
Yeah, please. Just to take this off of my table, is there any way we can stop a 4-unit going in there?
I don't think so. I don't think of any, I can't think of any legal way that you can do that. According to the bylaws, town laws, they can do it. If we approve it.
It's 4 units now.
It's 4 units now,
4
that's right.
units empty now? You know,
They
people
may
were
be empty,
living
but they're
for
officially 4 units.
renters, and there weren't 8 cars as we did have 4 that are going to be on the street probably on a regular basis, because, I don't know about you, but people don't wanna be jockeying their cars all over the place. So we're going to have other people parking their car. The homeowners that live on the street, we park in our driveways. We don't park on the street. The only time we park on the street is if we're allowing something else to happen. So it may not be a concern for y'all, but it is a concern for us, especially with, parking only on one side.
All valid concerns, and that's why they put the driveways there, so that we hope that the new owners will be as conscientious as the current owners and use the driveway and not the street.
When was it last fully occupied?
It's been vacant for, just because of its rundown nature, it's been vacant for a while.
Okay.
Yeah, it was part of the agreement was, if I was gonna buy it, I had to buy it vacant.
You bought it?
Yeah.
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 I mean, I'm just trying to think of the impact overall in the neighborhood. That's why I asked earlier about the overall look. I think the change in roof line, even though it's in conformance with the setback when the current one isn't, I think the change in roof line is going to feel significantly larger than what's there now. And in a neighborhood that already feels kind of cramped. That's my issue when I'm looking at this, trying to think of this, is what you're planning to put in, any more detrimental, you know, and has any more impact on the neighborhood than, what is currently there. And my feeling, just looking at, and all I, have to look at is the front elevation and estimating that. But because of the third story is going to be so much larger than the current third story with the slanted roof, that I do think it's gonna look quite different and feel quite different. And that's what I'm struggling with.
Any comment from?
I think in our application that the overriding sentiment is that this is a major improvement. The design that the applicant's chosen was not, pull a rabbit out of his hat, carefully designed. I think the balconies and the texture to the building are there to mitigate some of your concerns with regard to the mass of the structure. And again, it's hard to tell that from drawings. But I think that's a common theme in current modern design, especially around town, as we've all seen, with more and more cookie cutter or, similar type structures going up that overwhelm neighborhoods. I think this is just the opposite. It's going further away from the lot lines.
How much further?
Let's see. On the plans that have been provided, we currently have 16 feet, almost 17 feet
Right?
on the side yard setbacks, 15 to 17 feet on the side yard setbacks,
Yep.
which is conforming 22 feet plus in the front yard setbacks, and you can see that on the overlay, how much of an improvement that is. So, he's squeezing, and moving it over a little bit just to adjust the orientation.
It's going to be 22 and it's currently 13?
Yeah.
Okay.
So pretty significant improvements in the encroaching into the setbacks.
And they all conform to the Bible.
Yeah.
Any other comments, Cindy?
No.
Andrew? Okay. Then, my observation and final thoughts on this thing is that I would consider it better from a total size, because you are improving the setbacks on all sides than what was there before. You're getting rid of a very old building, very old, and you're putting in something better and newer. And yeah, there's going to be some inconveniences associated with
Oh darn.
building this darn thing. And as far as the parking is concerned,
You don't have to do it.
getting through that, as far as the parking is concerned, there's basically 2 spaces for each one, each apartment, condo. So it's by the book, according to the bylaw, it looks like it works. So, having gotten all the comments from the board members, I'm going to be entertaining a vote on this application. There are 5 members of the board here this evening. Cindy, Andrew, Patrick, Brian, and myself. You need 4 out of 5 to approve this thing. Less than 4 votes will disapprove it. Okay? So unless there's no further comment, I would entertain a motion for one of the board members on this application. Patrick, you want to give it a shot?
I don't have the sheet, but I will. I would be in favor, so I'm gonna move to grant the petitioner's special permit under section 7.0 and 7.2 of non-conforming uses of the zoning bylaws of the town of Reading. In this case, to raise the 4-family that is existing and rebuild a new 4-family dwelling in this S15 district on the lot at 48 to 54 Village Street in Reading, Massachusetts, as shown on the plot plan. And we can use, I apologize. It's the old one.
It's up on the screen.
Okay.
You can scroll up for the date, maybe. There you go.
That's the one.
On the plot plan dated September 5th, 2022 by, UNA Survey Associates
I think it's
Incorporated.
D.
Oh, Dean, I really need glasses.
That way.
So, and certified by Stan.
Yeah.
Special permit is subject to the following conditions. The petitioner shall submit the building inspector a certified plot plan of the proposed construction and proposed foundation plans prior to the issuance of a foundation permit for the work. The petitioner's final construction plans for the new structure shall be submitted to the building inspector along with the as-built foundation plans prior to the issuance of a building permit. As-built plans showing the completed construction shall be submitted to the building inspector immediately after the work is completed and prior to the issuance of an occupancy permit. And do we wanna condition this subject to the site plan approval as
Yes,
well?
please,
Okay.
and we can draft that.
I would add to that, Patrick, I would include the architectural drawings that were included with the application.
And
You can pick
also
them up and
included,
reference them by name, but
yep,
just refer
the
them as included with the
architectural
application.
diagrams included with the application,
Yeah.
please.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Andrew seconds it. Okay. All in favor of this project? Raise your hand. Those who disapprove? It is 4-1. It is approved.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Chair and board members, neighbors.
Nice to see you again, David.
Always a pleasure, Si. Been too long, actually.
Hope to see you again.
I hope to see you again
Under
as well.
different circumstances.
Thank you for coming, Pat.
Yeah, yeah. No.
Thank you,
All right,
Patrick. That was nice. We'll see you again.
Oh, no, I know.
We gotta leave. Now we got another thing to discuss. Nice to have you
We
here.
have minutes.
Minutes and,
Oh, wait, we need to talk about officers.
We have
If
to-
you're not here, you might end up.
Don't forget, it's not those who step forward. It's not those who step forward. It's those who don't step backward fast enough.
Andrew, your hair go with long. I like it.
Good night, everybody. Thank you very much.
Thank you for all, thank all of you for showing up. Appreciate the concern, comment.
I know they are.
Thank you.
Dude, I've not read them, honestly.
Huh?
I've not read them, honestly, so.
Do we have to like certify the minutes?
Yeah.
You do, yeah.
But you weren't here at the meeting, right, so that will be happening.
Yeah, you can always vote on them even if you're not there. I'm happy my friend.
Well, you can't say.
This is
but I
January
know that we
6th,
didn't
right?
say-
Yeah.
He was here.
Yeah, he
Oh,
was here.
okay.
I was there for a series of these.
Oh, these are
but not all.
older, okay.
Yeah, they are.
This is only one we're talking about, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Oh, this is, that's.
I thought my.
This goes way back.
that was a long
Yeah,
application.
I didn't have any issue with those.
I was younger then.
Weren't we all? We were all younger 5 minutes ago.
Yeah. So we are reviewing the minutes of January 6th. Is
Yep.
that correct?
You guys read them already? Do you have any comments?
I'm not as a president.
Oh, 'cause that was his application too.
That's right, that's right, you were here, that's right.
Oh, you were a,
You weren't on the board yet. Well, I'll give you my thoughts on it, okay?
There's a lot, no, I hope not. I don't have any trucks in there myself.
If you go, all the way down to the bottom of the first page, it says,
No, there are two more down the street.
the second sentence, Cindy Hartman stated that signs were allowed. I think that might read stated which signs were allowed.
where are you exactly?
The very bottom.
Very bottom.
Well, let's see, what page do you want?
Cindy Hartman agreed. Cindy is misspelled throughout this, but
No, that's
only one E on the end.
Oh, is it?
Oh, keep going, this is on the next page.
You wanna
Mine-
spell
Sorry,
her
I
name
might
funny?
have-
Mine printed out differently.
Yeah,
At
I
the top of the first page, the top of the second page there, it says Cindy Hartman stated that signs were allowed.
Clarify which signs it stated that.
Stated which signs were allowed, I would think. It sounds more-
Has to clarify which signs that you get
Right,
stated that.
right.
It was stated
Yeah.
that they were allowed at the time,
Yeah.
two signs, or one sign we had to assume by right. but that-
And then the other, let's see,
Was allowed.
scroll down a little bit. It says there in bold type, Cindy Hartman made a motion to approve a finding.
Grant of sign.
My question was, what was the finding we're voting on?
Good question.
That we should define the finding in the minutes, okay?
As presented.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's,
Finding
that
was
really
that,
good too.
actually, the finding was that two wall signs were allowed by right, and they did not need ZBA relief.
Okay, I'll buy that. Okay.
Fix that above.
Then my next one was just flip over to case 2201, wherever that starts.
Which one did you say,
Oh,
2201?
no, 2201, okay. That very first sentence, you make reference to a different case, case
Oh.
1114,
Yep.
Winthrop Avenue.
Good catch.
Okay,
Good catch.
pick up that area. And then, I guess we gotta keep going. Down to where Hillary Matev, there, it's okay, we'll keep going. Where are we? Yeah, okay, keep, where did Hillary close the public comment?
Well, there, she opened it right there, so.
Yeah, where did she,
Well, that
to where she closed it? Okay. I think that under that, where size starts there, under that second sentence, they are not creating a new conformity in our living. I would say they are not creating a new non-conformity,
Yep.
okay? And then down to the very end, somewhere there. Just above that, just above the bold type, where am I there? It says setbacks. See it right that in that paragraph where you got your thing there, out of line, setbacks? Okay. That's all I had.
I just did this. Got this corrected. Did you make time?
I don't know if anybody else had any.
Peer review.
No, I did not. I usually don't find them all. Okay.
Thank you.
No, that's the only minutes we're reviewing, right?
Yep.
Now we have to get to the real meat of the evening.
I move to approve these as amended.
I'll move to approve those minutes as amended.
I can second that.
Ryan, second.
Yes, sir.
Oh,
So yes, we have board reorganization, and I know things have been hard with scheduling, and we'll figure that out, hopefully going forward for 2023, but,
well, I appreciate the changes to Tuesdays for my schedule.
okay.
Is it on Tuesdays from now on?
Or
is
So
it-
the next one, the next few that are on the schedule are on
yeah,
Tuesdays.
but Patrick has had
But Patrick
issues
is
to
changing.
access Tuesdays now for other different hockey
Oh,
coaching.
right, he's got his stuff.
So we may switch to Mondays. It seems right now the only day that works for a majority
Is
of
that room available to us on Mondays?
as long as we avoid CPDC, which we have to because I go to CPDC anyways. So
Yeah. Well, their agendas are bigger than ours.
that they are. So Mondays might be the date in 2023 is what I'm expecting, as long as that's okay with you all.
We really need a date where all members of the board can be physically present. And it'd be nice if we had all members physically present to even elect new officers, okay? Which we don't have tonight.
Yes,
Right.
we need to do it. I can't put it off any longer.
Well, yeah, we're supposed to do this at first meeting in July.
yeah.
Okay, so we're halfway through the year almost, so.
So,
Sorry, if you are interested in being chair, I will nominate you to be chair.
You know, frankly, I think that, you know, I've been on this board for 16 years, and I've been chair. We always rotate the chair. Everybody on this board has their shot in the barrel.
Yeah.
You can't escape it, otherwise you shouldn't be here, okay? I don't know, I've had it 4 or 5 times, I guess, I don't know. But I would like to see some of the newer people on the board step up and do this. I'd be willing to support the chair as the vice chair or whatever, something like that. Are you still toying with the secretariat kind of thing?
no.
You're not? Okay, because at the time we were last talking, you needed a chair, a vice chair, and you needed a couple of people to take notes.
I was hoping so, but
Oh, a secretary.
we,
Okay,
don't
now,
have
I would
that
never do that,
capacity.
because number one, I can't hear anything, and number two, I can't
Not
write
enough
the crap
people,
anyway.
I do that for my condo, and that's enough.
So, I guess I'd like to see the chair and the vice chair, or at least the chair come from the newcomers, including Ryan, and I'd hate like hell to nominate a chair who's not here. I don't think that's fair.
Patrick.
Patrick, rather, I don't think that's fair,
Yeah.
you know, although I think you can make a good one.
Well,
I think you would make a good one
I
too.
don't mind being chair, my issue is that I will miss meetings occasionally because of my singing schedule, and if I'm in a concert week with extra rehearsals and so on, I will miss meetings.
Well, we've all done that,
So-
okay? I mean, we've been out of town, gone on vacation, got sick, our wife was sick, whatever it was, you know, it happens. But as a rule, it shouldn't happen often. And so I think you do a great job. I think Patrick would do a great job. I think you can do a great job. Okay? And I know that, you know, you're new to the board, and, you know, I know when I put select board said I come back down, you're gonna train all these people, and I said, well, yeah, right. But, you know, it's, I have had a talk with Bob Redford about coming back to the board. He was on the board for about 22 years. And he didn't say no, but he didn't say yes either. I enjoy golfing. He's long retired. But I think if you put the pressure to him, he might come back, because we've only got 5 people.
Yeah.
We need 7. We really need
Cushion.
a full complement of people on this board, because of the very reason you're talking about. You're not, some of us might not be here, you might not be here, you might not be here. I might not be
People get sick, people get,
Is,
So,
so
and if one of us leaves right now,
yeah.
you got 4 people. They need a unanimous decision on everything you're looking at. That's not fair. It's not fair to the
Might be an
people of this
outdated
town.
question, 'cause I did miss a few meetings. Is Hillary and Alex on the board anymore?
No,
No, they stepped
no.
down.
Got it.
Alex moved.
Alex moved.
Got it.
Hillary did.
Yeah.
Hillary, stepped down.
Makes sense.
But Hillary joined the board where we had 4 other members that were pretty much long-timers. She was the newcomer to the board.
Yeah, well,
She
ended up
developed
as-
quickly and she learned
She
quickly.
ended up as the chair because
Yeah.
she became the most senior person.
Yeah, yeah.
Pretty quickly.
And she did a good job, okay? I'd like to see someone else step into that same role and
Yeah.
pick that up, and then, you know,
Well,
when are we gonna vote, when are we gonna vote on new ones? 6 months from now, 8 months from now?
A new one?
Yeah.
So the person we're electing tonight is gonna last for,
Oh,
until next July?
I mean, I don't mind doing it as long as there's a vice chair that realizes that they're gonna be doing it, you know,
I don't
that
want
way.
to be vice chair, I'm not denying myself, but like, yeah, I think you're pretty open schedule in general too, so.
Yeah, and I think then that opens vice chair, whoever's vice chair can typically turn into chair on the next turn around and stuff if they can stick around, so it makes sense, I think, to do it that way.
Are we nominating Cindy as the chair for the balance of this fiscal year?
That's your motion.
I support that.
I'll take a motion, I'll make the motion, you wanna make the motion?
Sure.
Sounded like you did.
Make Cindy the chair of the zoning board of appeals for the remainder of
Just
this
a second.
I second.
All in favor?
Do I vote for that?
Sure.
You might as well raise your hand too. Now, would you be interested in being a vice chair?
Sure.
I mean, I'll be here, I'll be glad to
Okay.
help you too for the whole
Yeah,
damn
yeah,
thing,
absolutely.
okay? I mean, that's not the point,
Okay.
okay? I'd like to see that experience develop,
Yeah.
and I know there'll be missings once in a while, and you know. And,
Yeah.
so, would you like to nominate Andrew for,
I nominate Andrew to be vice chair.
all in favor?
We don't have to second that first?
Oh, we got a second.
Second.
Oh, I'm still learning the rules around here. I second that.
All in favor? Okay, so that's that.
All right,
And,
Alright,
and the recruitment continues.
it does, and quick plug out, for you guys and anybody watching, our housing production forum, we're undergoing the housing production plan update right now, there's a survey out there, you might have got a postcard in the mail,
Did.
please do take the survey,
it's a pretty extensive survey.
Sure is,
I actually got
If you got a few hours in the evening, you might wanna fill it out.
And our forum is next Monday, our first forum. If any of you guys plan to attend, especially if a majority of you plan
Where
to
is it?
attend, it's gonna be at the Reading Public Library
Oh,
in the community
down in the
rooms.
conference room?
Yep. I can post you guys if you think a majority of you are attending.
Next Monday?
Yeah, if
Oh,
not,
cause then it needs to be official, but.
right, just in
it's
case.
there.
And say, not that you act or
Yeah.
anything as such, but we always just play it safe, so,
I'd
So
like to.
if majority of us happen to run into each other at Market Basket, is that a meeting?
If we're aligned for the deli, it could. Or the seafood account.
So the next meeting is
The next meeting is,
November 3rd.
fifth,
November
13th or
15th, I
15th.
believe, yeah.
That's a Zoom meeting.
We
Yeah,
can
why are they
change
going
that.
back and forth?
Well, all the rooms are taken, I think, for the next one.
Oh, is that,
Is
So-
it a Zoom?
we'll figure that out.
I
don't
think
know
I
yet.
saw an email that said that's a Zoom and the other one in December is in person.
Okay, yeah, the
Here,
rooms might
in
be
this room.
taken, yeah, so.
I think
if
that's what
not,
the email
I'll
said.
likely go in person.
The case is scheduled?
I don't believe so as of yet, so right now we don't have applications
Alright,
yet, so they're running out of time to get those.
Exactly.
Well, I would think the activity on this board is gonna be a little lighter than normal, because number one, it costs more to do what you wanna do right now. and
Yeah.
People have got plenty of problems trying to find the money to do anything.
Yeah.
And number two, these contractors are pretty filled up,
Mhm.
so it might be a tough one, people might just be putting it off, so we may not have a lot of meetings, I don't know. Might not. Anyway. Okay.
Yep.
Since there's nothing else to do, I'll entertain a motion
Move to
to
adjourn.
adjourn. Do I hear one? Second, anybody?
Third?
Adjourn.
All in favor, yeah.
So Andrew, what's the inside scoop on these?